The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets in the cavernous briefing room at Coronado Naval Base, where the air hung thick with the scent of salt water and stale coffee. Rows of Navy SEALs, hardened men with tattoos snaking up their necks like war stories etched in ink, sat ramrod straight, their eyes locked on the front of the room. This was no ordinary gathering. It was induction day for the elite counterterrorism unit, the kind of day where legends were born or buried. And, at the center of it, all stood Admiral Harlan Iron Jaw Whitaker, a grizzled titan of the seas, his chest a forest of ribbons from Fallujah to the Hindu Kush. At 62, he was the man who'd stared down warlords and walked away, whistling. But today, his steel-gray eyes sparkled with mischief. He scanned the new recruits, landing on her, the lone woman in a sea of testosterone, Captain Elena Vasquez. She was unremarkable at first glance, mid-30s, with raven hair pulled into a severe bun that did nothing to hide the faint scar tracing her jawline like a whispered secret. Her uniform hung crisp but loose, as if she'd borrowed it from a ghost. No bluster, no swagger, just quiet poise, her dark eyes fixed on the floor, hands clasped behind her back like a schoolgirl awaiting detention. The SEALs had been whispering about her for weeks. Vasquez? The desk jockey from Intel? One had sneered in the mess hall that morning, his voice carrying like shrapnel. Heard she got her bars pushing papers, not pulling triggers. What's a widow doing in our house anyway? Laughter had rippled through the table like a bad joke at a funeral. Elena had lost her husband, Lieutenant Marco Vasquez, 3 years ago in a botched op in Syria, blown to bits by an IED while she watched from the shadows, too far to save him. Or so the official report said. The men didn't know the half of it. To them, she was the fragile flower, the affirmative action hire, the punchline in a room full of predators. Admiral Whitaker leaned against the podium, his baritone booming like thunder over the Pacific. All right, you sorry sacks of sand. You've survived Hell Week, but that was child's play. Now we forge weapons. Call signs, that's your new skin, your war name. It sticks like blood on a blade. Who's first? Chuckles erupted as rookies rattled off theirs. Ghost for the silent sniper. Bulldog for the brawler from Texas. The Admiral's gaze slid back to Elena, a predatory grin splitting his weathered face. He was legendary for this, ribbing the greenhorns, breaking them down to build them up. But with her, it was sharper, laced with the casual cruelty of a man who'd never shared a foxhole with a woman. You, Captain Vasquez, the quiet one in the back. What's your call sign, sweetheart? Something dainty, like butterfly or tea leaf. The room exploded in guffaws, fists pounding tabletops. A burly SEAL with a buzz cut and a missing earlobe elbowed his buddy. Bet it's widow's weep, get it? 'Cause she's all tears and no teeth? Elena's chin lifted, just a fraction, but enough to silence the nearest row. Her voice, when it came, was steady as a sniper's breath. Low, unhurried, cutting through the din like a K-bar through fog. Iron Widow, sir. The laughter died like a snuffed candle. Whispers slithered through the ranks. Did she say what? But the Admiral's face, oh, that face, it crumpled. The color drained from his ruddy cheeks, leaving him ashen as driftwood. His knees buckled, and he gripped the podium, knuckles whitening, eyes bulging like a man glimpsing his own grave. Iron Widow? He rasped, the words choking out as if poisoned. The room tilted into stunned silence, every eye darting between the unbreakable Admiral and the woman who'd just uttered 2 words that echoed like a ghost's verdict. He didn't collapse, not fully, but he slid down the podium, breath ragged, hand clutching his chest as if she'd fired a round straight through it. Medics rushed in, but Whitaker waved them off, his gaze locked on her, haunted, reverent. You're her? Flash back 3 years to the scorched sands of Al-Tanf, Syria, where the sun baked the earth into a furnace and betrayal hung in the air like diesel fumes. Lieutenant Marco Vasquez, Elena's husband of 5 years, led a joint SEAL Green Beret team on a night raid to snatch a high-value ISIS financier from a fortified compound. Elena wasn't supposed to be there. She was intel liaison, tucked safe in a forward operating base 10 clicks out, feeding drone feeds and sat intel through crackling comms. But Marco had insisted, "My lucky charm, mi amor. Come watch the show?" She'd relented, slipping into the shadows of the Overwatch perch, her scope trained on the chaos below. The op was textbook at first. Shadows melting through razor wire, suppressed fire whispering death. Then it went to hell. An insider tip, fed by the very asset they trusted, unleashed a hail of RPGs from hidden bunkers. The team scattered like leaves in a storm. Marco's voice crackled over the radio, calm as ever. Vasquez to command, taking fire, heavy. Flanking left. Elena, you seeing this? Get me exfil cords. I see you, Marco. Hold position, drones inbound. Her heart hammered, fingers flying over the console, but the feed glitched, static swallowing the visuals. Gunfire popped like firecrackers, screams cutting through. Then silence. Horrible, sucking silence. She bolted from the perch, grabbing an M4 from a stunned tech, sprinting into the fray because love doesn't wait for orders. The compound loomed, a jagged beast of concrete and rebar, flames licking its wounds. Bodies littered the sand, SEALs, berets, twisted in eternal vigilance. She found him in the courtyard, pinned under a collapsed wall, the financier dead at his feet. But the trap sprung. ISIS fighters swarmed, shadows in black, AKs chattering. Marco's eyes met hers through the dust, weak but fierce. "Elena, run! That's an order!" She dropped to her knees, heaving the debris off him, bullets zipping past like vengeful wasps. "Not without you, idiota! We're Vasquez's! We fight dirty!" One fighter lunged, bayonet gleaming. Elena fired first, center mass, the recoil jolting her shoulder like a lover's slap. Another flanked. She rolled, came up firing, her world narrowing to breaths and triggers. Marco coughed blood, pressing a sat phone into her hand. "Call it in. Tell them, Iron Widow." It was their private joke, born in Bud-ass when she'd dragged his exhausted ass through the surf on her back during a partner carry. But now it was prophecy. The exfil chopper thundered overhead, miniguns roaring, but the horde pressed. Elena hauled Marco toward the LZ, his weight a dead anchor, firing one-handed, her free arm burning with strain. A grenade arced through the smoke. She dove, shielding him, the blast ripping the air, shrapnel kissing her jaw like a cruel kiss. Pain exploded, but she rose, roaring, a feral sound that froze the nearest fighters. For Marco! She charged, M4 barking, dropping 3 in a blur of motion and fury. The last one, their leader, a scarred brute with eyes like coals, lunged with a knife. She parried, twisted, drove her own blade into his throat, twisting until the light died in his gaze. The chopper touched down amid the inferno, rotors whipping sand into cyclones. Medevac pulled Marco aboard, but his pulse flickered out en route, the light fading from his eyes as he whispered, "Iron, love you." Elena collapsed beside the bird, bloodied, broken, the sand drinking her tears. But she didn't shatter. No, she forged. The after-action report called it a rout. 12 SEALs and berets down, the team avenged only by her lone stand. Whispers spread through the ranks. The Widow did it. Iron Widow. It became legend, a call sign whispered in awe. The woman who'd held the line against hell itself, dragging her dying husband through fire, turning grief to steel. Brass buried it. Too messy, too female. But the ghosts knew. And now, in that briefing room, the Admiral knew. Whitaker straightened, the medics retreating as color returned to his face. He'd been there that night, orbiting in a Spec Ops helo, watching the feed go dark, blaming himself for the leak that cost those lives. "Captain Vasquez," he said, voice thick, rising to salute her. Not as a superior, but an equal, a brother in blood. "Iron Widow, we thought you were lost to us." "Desk duty," they said. "Hiding the hero." The room erupted, not in laughter, but thunderous applause, seals on their feet, saluting the woman they'd mocked. The buzz-cut brute wiped his eyes, muttering, "Holy shit, ma'am. Teach me that." Elena stood taller, the scar on her jaw catching the light like a badge of honor. "No hiding, Admiral. Just waiting for the right fight." In the days that followed, the base transformed. Vasquez wasn't sidelined, she led. Joint ops in the Gulf, her call sign crackling over comms like a battle cry, turning rookies into warriors. The Admiral pinned her with the Silver Star in a quiet ceremony, his hand shaking on hers. "You saved more than Marco that night, Elena. You saved us all, showed us what unbreakable looks like." And the whispers? They became roars of respect, the underdog's fire igniting the whole damn machine. So here's to the Iron Widows among us, the quiet storms, the scarred survivors who rise when the world expects them to kneel. Injustice may mock you, suspense may claw at your heels, but reveal your steel and watch empires tremble. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Fight on, because the graveyards are full of untolds. But legends? They echo forever.